would like to thank the organizer of this event to having invited me to share my experience when I was in France in charge of the implementation of the European Wastewater Directive between 2007 and 2012, and my current experience in the European Commission in charge of the implementation also of the European Wastewater Directive, but also at this time at European level. So what is important, first of all, as regards the management of this policy, is to implement an efficient organization system. So that's what we have in France. So what you can see at the left of the slide, so we have a good administrative organization. So we have several levels, as explained before. We have the state level, we have the regional level, and we have the department level. But also we have a river basin level that is managed by the river basin agencies in France, and we have a good articulation between all these levels and an efficient organization in this policy. The only problem we have in France is that we have still 17,000 water utilities, wastewater utilities. So it's a lot, but there is an ongoing process to reduce this number, and we think really that it will be more efficient with less water utilities, because when you are a civil servant at the department level and you have to work with 1,000 water utilities at your level, it's really not easy. So that's what we have in France, and in Europe we are very lucky because we have a common approach under this policy. So we have a directive, so the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. So what you have to know is that we are two in the DG Environment of the European Commission to manage this policy, and we are in contact with 28 colleagues in each member state to help them to implement this wastewater policy. And we are also in contact at European level with representative of the wastewater stakeholders, so that are also at this level. And so what is also important, and what was important when I was in France, is to work with everybody and to go in the same direction. And not only at our administrative level or local level, but also at political level. It means that if there is no agreement at political level, to go forward, so it's difficult for you to do correctly your job. But it is well organized in France, and with this good organization, so we were able to manage well this policy. So what is also important when you have a good organization, if you want to manage well the policy, is to have in place action plans, implementation programs. So that's what I wrote when I was in France. So I was in charge of writing two implementation programs. So the first one in 2007, and we updated it in 2012. And so that's what also is requested at European level, because we have an article in the directive, this is the Article 17, that requests to all member states to implement implementation program action plans. And what we did when I arrived in the Commission, I arrived in 2013, and what we did is that we updated this, what was requested under this article, in order to have a more accurate information about the different projects and investments related to this policy. And so what is also more and more important in this urban wastewater implementation program is to add in this program other objectives than other targets than the basic targets to implement the directive, but targets related to now water quality objectives, specifically under the Water Framework Directive, but also targets related to preventive measures in order to reduce as much as possible the pollution at source, to avoid to have to collect or treat this pollution. And I would like to highlight here that this is something, the preventive measure, the access measure, that is requested by the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, and that's what is written in its Article 191. So when you have an action plan, so you need to follow the action plan. And to follow it correctly, so you need to build indicators. So there is a problem. I think perhaps I have to. So you need to have indicators in place to follow this policy. And of course, as regards urban wastewater, the first indicator is related to the compliance or not of the different agglomerations or treatment plants. So that's what we did in France. So we follow a list of evolution of compliance of treatment plants, and we did with that different maps. But also what is interesting is to enlarge the view of the impact of this policy, and that's why we also follow the indicators related to water quality. And what you can see at the left is here, for example, you have the concentration of phosphorus in the lake Geneva, and here you have the concentration of ammonium in the river Seine. And so what is interesting to see here is that the concentration has reached its lowest for 40, 50 years. So we are now at a very good level of quality, and this is really the result of the massive investments in the sanitation infrastructure. And it's very important to show that because it really reflects the impact, the positive impact of these investments. So we do the same at European level because there is a request each 2 years to have a reporting from each member state. And with that, we follow the evolution of the compliance at European level. So we follow the compliance as regards the connection, the secondary treatment, and the tertiary treatment. But more and more, what we want to have is the result also of this policy at European level. And so we have started also to use what is reported at the level of the the European Environmental Agency as regards the quality of the river. And here you can see the evolution of the BOD in the rivers in Europe, and you can see also the positive impact of all these investments. So this is very important to have a view of the situation, but also of the result of this policy as regards the quality and the quantity related to this situation. So it's also important to follow the situation as regards the financial aspects. So that's what I did in France because we have good statistics about this policy, and so I started to build graphs to show the evolution and specifically the acceleration of the investment because we were late in France like other countries, and we had to show to the Commission that we invested a lot to comply as soon as possible. It's also important to show the investment needed, and in France it's about 4.3 billion euros each year, and also the benefits as regards the jobs that are behind this policy, and in France we have about 70,000 jobs, full-time equivalent, linked to the wastewater policy. So with the update of the Article 17 reporting, as I explained before, so we are now to give the same information at European level, so we can give an overview at each national level, but also an overview at European level. And so what we know now is that the costs as regards the investments needed each year are between 19 and 25 billion euros each year at European level. And this is the wastewater policy at European level. This is also the result of the statistic from Eurostat. Are about 600,000 full-time equivalent. So that's a lot of jobs and activities behind this policy. So it's very important to show that, of course, this is one of the most expensive directives, but behind that, it creates a lot of activities and jobs, and it maintains also the jobs in this policy. So we have a good organization, we have action plan, we have indicators, and we did also something is that we need a specific approach. That's we call it the carrot and stick approach. So it means that concretely that we need to help the institution in charge of the projects to realize the projects or with funds, but also we need to implement sanctions when there are issues, there are problems of not complying to the deadlines as regards the directive. So that's what we did in France, that's what exists at European level. So in France we have a very good organization with river basin agencies that are allocated funds to the municipalities that are in charge of or the water utilities that are in charge of the different urban wastewater projects. We have also in France in our law specific infringement procedures for those municipalities that do not respect the specific deadlines, and we applied that when I was in France. We applied that to some of them because we were under the pressure of the Commission to finalize as soon as possible the different projects. And at European level, of course, we have the same policy with the DG Regio. We have so a lot of funds allocated to wastewater. So I think that for the current program between 2014 and 2020, it's about 16 billion euros that are allocated to the urban wastewater policy, and as regards the drinking water policy, water supply, it's about 12 billion euros. So that's an important amount, so to help different countries to finalize their investments on this policy. But of course at European level, and you know that we have also infringement procedures, so this is the pressure to force member states to respect their different deadlines. So when I was in France, that was very important for me to have this pressure from the Commission, because it helped me a lot to convince the local level to achieve correctly what they have to do. And without this pressure, I really think it's more complicated it would have been more complicated to have the result we had in France. So, I would like also to say that it's very important for all of that with the action plan and the indicators to have a very efficient information system in order to collect, qualify, assess and aggregate the urban wastewater data and information. And this is the power we have at European level, because we have organized a common data model, a common reporting approach and process. And we have now what is totally new, a new Commission dissemination approach, and I will show you it immediately. So in France, so we published in 2010 wastewater website that is now very popular because it has more than 700 users per day. And what we did last week in Europe is to publish for the first time the result of the last reporting through 28 user-friendly websites. So this is the new approach to give a complete access to the reporting information and to enlarge the use of this information to improve the knowledge to everybody. And I would like to finish by an important thing to manage the projects at local level. So is to give access to best practices in order to improve the knowledge and the decision. And so that's what we did as regards natural water retention measures, because at European level we build a specific website to give examples and to encourage all municipalities to go in this direction. And there is really a need, when you have a project to manage, to study different alternative solutions before deciding of the final of the final projects, and we need to have this comparison in order to adopt the most cost-efficient solution. So as a conclusion, I would like to say that if we want to improve the quality of our environment and health of people, there is a need to have a very efficient organization in place with a very good data management, and we have also to show that this objective creates also a lot of economic activities and a lot of jobs. Thank you.